Welcome to the Fifth Quarter Sportscast. I'm Jared Judy. I'm here again, as usual, with my buddy Todd Corley. How we doing this time?
Jesus Christ. Deja vu?
Yeah, we'll see if it works this time.
Oh, no.
But we did just finish up the Wildcard Weekend, the first week of the postseason. Plenty of games, plenty of highlights, plenty of unexpected outcomes. But with that, we'll jump right in, and we got plenty to discuss here. We'll start with the poll of the week. With the NFL wildcard games finished up and plenty to pick from, which outcome was most shocking? Texans over the Browns, Packers over the Cowboys, Lions taking down the Rams, or Bucks knocking off the Eagles? 27% for the Texans, 55% for the Packers, 18% for the Bucks, nothing for the Lions. Kind of shocked Lions and Rams didn't get any votes, considering it was a 1-point game. Being a Packers fan, I was very shocked that game kind of ended how it did, with C.J. Stroud and the rookie and the way that's gone. And then the fact that the Browns offense, how they've been able to continue piecing things together with 4 quarterbacks and the defense, being the top defense of the league. I was very shocked at 45-14. Did not expect that. So I would go with them.
Texans, Browns. Never saw it coming.
Yeah, except for the last time.
And the Lions and the Rams was pretty good too.
Yeah.
That was a treat.
But we'll fly through some of the games here. Plenty to look at here. Flacco hit 34, 46, 307 touchdown. 3 if you're counting 2 to the other team.
Those picks that really hurt Jill checkbook,
Yeah, they tend not to really help you out too much. He was sacked 4 times. Running game wasn't really much of a factor. Stroud, he had a decent day. It wasn't, blow the doors off fantastic, but I think it was the Texans defense that really made that game shine. 16 for 21, 274, and 3 touchdowns. All in all, Texans get the win. Also, thanks to the refs. Quite a few instances in that game where they played a part, as usual, like they have for the better part of this season. Yeah, I definitely didn't expect that game to be that lopsided, though. I mean, with the Browns defense playing the way they've been, I don't know what the hell happened to Myles Garrett. He just didn't seem like he was much of a factor at all.
Pretty quiet day. It was cool, the Browns being favored on the road in the playoffs. I mean,
that never happens.
It's just an honor to be nominated, You don't really need the award. It's just an honor to be nominated. Thank you.
Hey, but however you want to interpret it. But regardless, I was kind of shocked that all the people were lobbying for, his postseason MVP, all this stuff, and he's pretty quiet. And social media had a field day with that one. A lot of the Steelers fans poking fun at that one. But then again, T.J. Watt was out, so that didn't matter anyway. But I was kind of shocked that he didn't have more of an impact in the game, because he's been a big factor in almost every game they've had. But moving on here, we have the Dolphins and the Chiefs. Yet again, some interesting storylines here. It's almost as if it was scripted. You had the Browns, which, wait, where'd your quarterback come from? The franchise? Oh, he came from the Texans. And then you have, what's his name? Oh, Tyreek Hill. He came from the Chiefs, and he's going back to the Chiefs. You had the Packers going up against their former head coach that took them to the playoffs. You had, Stafford, who came from Detroit, going back to Detroit, and then you had
destroy. I like that.
Yeah,
destroy. He came back to destroy Detroit.
Yeah, well, that didn't work out. But then you had Jared Goff, who came from the Rams, and went to Detroit. A lot of interesting storylines there, but ultimately, Dolphins. Let's go to a little bit more of a colder climate than Miami, South Florida. They do fall to the Chiefs 26-7. I honestly didn't know what to expect for this game. The Chiefs had not looked that great all season. Like, they've struggled a lot. They haven't looked very consistent like we're typically used to seeing. I kind of thought Miami may be able to squeak it out if Kansas City had their typical off day. I don't know. Kansas City they were in prime form of what we normally would expect them to look like, and flawless, pretty much like they normally are. Not surprised, but it's kind of that old adage of, did Miami peak too soon? And the Chiefs are peaking at the right time. I don't know. But the Chiefs look like what we expect them to look like. They get the win 26-7.
Happens as you get older.
That's what I hear. 23 of 41, 262, and a touchdown from Mahomes. Tua, not a great day. 20 of 39, 199, touchdown, interception, 2 sacks. Not exactly the best day, to say the least. What's your opinion? Because I know the talk for Kansas City specifically has been they don't have really any offensive weapons outside of Kelsey and Pacheco, and they don't like to run the ball. So essentially, it's Kelsey. What's your opinions on this Rice? Rice.
Every time I watch him, that dude is money, man. He is underrated as hell. That dude is a stud.
I just don't feel like he's getting all that much attention, but yet when he's targeted, I don't feel like I've ever seen him be either out of position or drop a ball. Like, the dude seems like he's catching 5-6 targets a game.
I'm putting 1 million token bit peso points on somebody getting an anytime touchdown score. You did this to me.
I mean, 8 for 130 and a touchdown. You really can't ask for much more. And at this point, I mean, you look at the second and third, fourth receivers, it's Travis Kelce, Watson, and Gray. So, I mean, I think it's safe to say Rice has to be the number one receiver there, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it ain't Scantling. It ain't MVS.
No. God, no.
So,
Remember Sky Moore?
Yeah, well, I did see something about him being active. I'm still a little sore about that one because I actually thought that he was going to be something, and I picked him up a couple different times in DFS thinking he was going to take the spot of Tyreek Hill and take that position and run with it. He didn't do shit with it. So, yeah, that didn't help me.
Give me Rice all day,
but
baby.
Rice looks like the real deal. So, but moving on here to the next game, we have Green Bay and Dallas. What in the hell happened to Dallas?
What?
I know January is typically disappointment month for Dallas fans, but holy shit. It was, I'm trying to remember, it was like, 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter or 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and it was 48-16. I mean, I'm going to be honest, as a Packers fan, I didn't see that coming. And I think anybody that said they saw it coming, they're full of shit. Because there's no way anybody saw that big of a blowout coming from the Packers specifically, who, let's be honest, anybody who's really studied stats and analytics or is a Packers fan knows that earlier on in the season, Packers couldn't even fucking score a point until like 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And the fact that they came out and almost should have went, thanks to the refs, should have been up 27-0 at halftime is just ridiculous. Obviously, they get the win, 48-32 over Dallas. It was not that close. Dallas made it a close game by getting a ton of garbage points and garbage yards. The stats look a lot different than what they actually are. Jordan Love, 16-21, 272, 3 touchdowns. Aaron Jones, it's like Aaron Jones. That's Dallas is his home away from home. 21, 118, and 3 touchdowns. Last time he played there, he had over 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. And there's the meme of him, everyone's seen it, him running into the end zone wave, and then he got fined like $10,000 or something crazy after it. But he balls out every time he plays in Texas. Every time he plays in Texas, he balls out.
He's from there. UTEP.
Is he from there? I know he went to school there, but is he from there?
He was born in Georgia.
Oh, okay.
But he went to high school.
I was gonna say,
El Paso.
I know he went to UTEP. Him and his brother.
Yeah, played for UTEP. Went to high school in El Paso, which is the EP in UTEP.
Yeah. Huh.
For the three of you who are driving across country to visit your kin, thanks for listening. We'll teach you something.
Maybe.
Cheers.
But with that being said, I just staying out of it because obviously being a Packers fan, I kind of have my own opinions. And I know you do as well for fantasy purposes. Obviously, Christian Watson was a complete non-factor in this game.
I didn't even know he played.
just like
I watched it and I don't even know he played.
Well, that's because he only had one catch for 9 yards. But let's be honest, he's been pretty inactive for most of the season to begin with. But Romeo Doubs, what do you think of him?
He is who everybody thought Christian Watson was going to be.
Well, see, the thing is, I honestly thought at the beginning of the season, being a Packers fan, all the media from ESPN Wisconsin was saying, "Oh, Romeo Doubs and Jordan Love, like they are like the next Devontae Aaron. They have a chemistry like none other. Like they are hitting on all cylinders." And then it kind of seemed like he was hit or miss. Like he couldn't catch anything, and then he would have a game where he'd have 3 touchdowns. Like he was very, very inconsistent. Like they weren't on the same page, which kind of confused me.
I feel like that was just Green Bay, though.
Well, yeah, that too. And then a lot of young guys, and guys weren't running the right routes and in the right position for most of the season. But I kind of felt like Jaden Reed was more of his go-to number one than anybody else. I mean, that guy was doing sweeps out of the back, screens, out routes, post routes. Like that was his almost safety valve more so than anybody else. So it's kind of confusing. I don't really know who his number one is, which I guess that's not a bad thing because then no one knows who the real threat is. But I was really shocked to see Romeo Doubs 6 of 151 and 1 touchdown. With that being said, again, everyone that watches Green Bay knows their defense is pretty trash on all facets. I think they're 28th in run defense, 27th or 29 in pass defense. CeeDee Lamb, 9 of 110. Michael Gallup, 6 of 103. If you would have told me CeeDee Lamb was going to have 9 for 110 in this game, I would have said, in the first quarter or first half. Like I would have not expected him to be a complete non-factor. Him and Dak were not on the same page at all for the first 3.5 quarters. I don't know what the hell was going on there. I mean, Dak was throwing balls over his head, throwing balls in the ground. It looked like CD just was not engaged, could care less. Like, it seemed like he was checked out.
Yeah. Well, maybe Rod Marinelli's son-in-law won't be there next year.
Well, we'll see. Don't tease me. But with that being said, there's been quite a few coaching guys on the hot seat, and one of them being McCarthy. Granted, he's had quite a decent run with Green Bay, but he's been in Dallas for the last 3-4 years, I believe, 3 years at least. He's got another year on his contract. For as old and impulsive as Jerry is, I honestly thought, and even Jerry came out and said it at the end of the game, this was the worst loss, and especially the worst postseason loss he's ever seen in the time he's owned the team. And I think I remember seeing it on the screen. Obviously, it's the first time a 7 seed has ever won, because there was none. And it was the first time a 7 seed has ever beat a 2nd seed. But I think this is the most points also that Dallas has ever given up in a postseason, 48 points. With all that being said, I have a hard time believing Dan Quinn is still there. I mean, until he gets another head coaching job. And McCarthy, like he's done really good in the regular season. I think 12-5 or something like that, 3 seasons in a row. But dude, he can't get it done in the postseason.
I just don't understand how the team looked so bad. Like that score doesn't actually indicate how lopsided that victory actually was.
No, it was like I said, it was 48-16 with like 8-10 minutes left in the game. Dude. And the only reason that they started climbing back into it was because LaFleur pulled all the starters out in the fourth, midway through the fourth. So they had a shit ton of garbage yards because I don't think Dak had more than like 100 yards going into the fourth quarter. And like I said, CeeDee Lamb, I think he only had 20 yards in the whole game until that fourth quarter.
Yeah, he turned it on there late, but it was garbage yardage.
Exactly. Yeah. Man, that was embarrassing. And the fact that they were like, yeah, we trusted him, we're bringing him back. Like, that blew my mind. And I can't remember. Was it Shanahan or was it Quinn that was in Atlanta during the 28-3 Super Bowl against New England?
Yeah, the meltdown.
Yeah. Who was the coach there in Atlanta? Do you remember? Is it Shanahan? I can't remember. I want to say it was Shanahan.
I'd like to have somebody look it up for us, but, I mean, we weren't paying them, so what the fuck did you expect them to do?
Either way, my point is they were embarrassed, not quite as bad as 48-16. and they didn't last, whoever that was. So the fact that America's team is sticking with somebody who just got embarrassed on the biggest stage.
I mean, it was bad. I mean, it was bad.
And I mean, that being said, it was right up there with the Cleveland-Houston game.
Do you remember who it was? Because I may have phoned a friend.
For the Atlanta coach?
Mm-hmm. You're right about Shanahan, but he didn't have anything to do with the defense. I'm pretty sure it was Dan Quinn.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Head coach.
I thought that they were both there, but for some reason I was thinking Quinn was the coach.
The OC was Shanahan.
Yeah, and so you see the similarities, and he got kicked to the curb after that game. So the fact that you got embarrassed even bigger, and he's still there, like that just blows my mind.
That makes me sad. I feel bad for him. Somebody should put him on suicide watch.
Not great. Well, here's the thing, though. That's right up there, almost as bad as the Cleveland-Houston blowout. But here's the thing. Dallas had like the number 1 or number 2 defense and the number 1 or number 2 offense. So they were ranked a lot higher. And Green Bay was ranked. Well, that and Green Bay was ranked a heck of a lot lower than Cleveland and Houston in almost every category. And the fact that you got blown out by that team,
I don't know how that happens.
That's like
that should not happen.
That's like if Houston would have got blown out by Carolina. Like that's how bad it was.
This is my thing now, right? Like, because everybody thinks Dan Quinn's going to end up in Seattle. You know, like when people are, at least in movies. I mean, you and I got married, and I don't remember anybody standing up there saying, "Does anybody object to these two happy people getting married and spending the rest of their lives together?"
And no one says anything.
Nobody says anything. What they should do, there should be like a designated motherfucker. You should have Matt Ryan standing around somewhere. Anytime he should be following around Dan Quinn anytime he's interviewed. And they should be like does anybody object to this motherfucker being a head coach again in the NFL? And Matt Ryan should be like,
"Get me."
Raise his hand and be like, "Listen, let me direct you. Do you remember? Let me tell you about a Super Bowl story. I cried myself to sleep," and then be like, "Okay, well, I guess that's not happening."
All right, well, we're gonna move on with the next candidate.
That's right. Sorry. Thanks for coming. Good point. Touche, Matty Ryan.
I mean, it's not like he doesn't have the free time right now.
I mean, what else is he gonna do?
Go on
probably
tour.
What he is doing.
Go on tour.
That's the real reason he retired. He still has it in him. He's doing God's work. He's stopping Dan Quinn from another meltdown in the Super Bowl.
He must not have landed in Dallas soon enough. I'm dumbfounded how you're just like, you're perfectly fine with keeping pat on who you have on staff, and then you turn around and say it was the worst loss you've ever experienced in the time you've owned the Cowboys. Like that just blows my mind.
Never have I seen a playoff team come out flatter and look more like shit.
Well, that's the thing.
Especially at home, like at least Cleveland was on the road. Like I'm sitting here as a Browns fan talking shit. My team just got blown out. However, Jesus Christ, it was our 4th string quarterback who wasn't even on the fucking roster until the last 4 weeks.
Well, and that's what you expect for a team like Cleveland, who's basically playing with house money. They're on the road. They're playing with their 4th-string quarterback who came off the couch. Like, it'd be cool if they won, but you're not expecting it. Like, that's kind of the mindset. Honestly, as a Packers fan, my mindset was, hey, Dallas usually sucks in the postseason, but they are really good at home. They had 16 games in a row at home.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like
16 in a row.
That's what I don't get.
And the fact that Green Bay's special teams, the kicker misses every other extra point, can't make a field goal if his life depended on it. The defense, if you want to run down the field, sure, we'll let you. We'll get out of the way. If you want to pass on us, sure, we'll move out of the way for you. Like, the defense is horrible. The offense, for the most part of the year, aside from the last 2 months, has looked the most inconsistent in the league. And then all of a sudden they put it all together. So for me, at this point, the fact that Green Bay got to the playoffs as a Packers fan, I'm like, oh, great. We're ahead of schedule. Like, this is great. We're actually ahead of where we were last year with the Hall of Fame quarterback. So for me, cool. We're playing with house money. If we get beat by Dallas, cool. At least we made it to the dance, because that was not the expectation. That's not what I expected, especially when we had 7 weeks in a row we lost. So cool. But then you not even show up and play competitive. You blow out the team that had the number 1 defense and this 16-game win streak at home. Like that, I don't know. That completely caught me off guard. It was 27-7 at halftime. I'm like, oh my God. Like, okay, when are they going to collapse? Something's going to happen. How are we going to blow this? And it never happened. Like, it was nuts. But speaking of another nuts, crazy game here, I was watching this after the Packers game. Rams, Lions. Lions take down the Rams. They fall short 24-23. Jared Goff and Dan Campbell does get the 1-point win. Again, no surprise here. Puka Nacua sets the single-game NFL playoff record for most receiving yards by a rookie at 181. You have a player, this is what blows my mind. You have a player, receiver, at that, who has 181 yards and you still lose the game? How often does that happen? That can't be that often.
Nakua's amazing.
If he doesn't get Rookie of the Year, it's criminal.
Something wrong.
Somebody got paid off. But
I don't know. Kyron Williams is the one that I was expecting to have a bigger impact.
Did he? I can't remember. I don't know if I missed the second quarter or part of the second quarter. Did he get hurt, or did he get banged up and leave for a little bit and then come back in? Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
I think his hand was screwed up.
Because I was going to say, I thought I saw somebody else come in for him just a few.
I know he left the game for a little bit. I don't know if he actually came back.
Well, it shows in stats, Ronnie Rivers.
So yeah, one of the people that we know from our Kent Stark days.
Oh boy,
who has a relative who's a coach with a team that rhymes with Glams. He was actually talking up Ronnie Rivers pretty good. Of course, he was also telling me to fucking sell on Puka and sell high on Puka Nacua and buy low on Cooper Kupp, and that
so this guy coaches for the Clams.
That's right. You better believe, baby.
The San Diego Clams.
You got it.
I mean, Stafford had his typical game. Pretty par for the course for him. 25 of 36, 367, 2 touchdowns, sacked twice. That's pretty standard for him. He seems to always be in the 300s. Goff, on the other hand, 22 of 27. Pretty much a damn near flawless game for him. 277, 1 touchdown. He was sacked 3 times. His biggest thing, and yeah, I may or may not have gotten screwed out of some money by a certain individual on that team who has a brother with another rival. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7 for 110. He didn't help me because I had 50 yards in the first quarter, and he decided to get all his in the second and third, fourth quarter. But 7 for 110. Josh Reynolds, it decided to be, it looked like early on it was going to be the Goff and Reynolds revenge tour. He went 5 for 80. Montgomery, Gibbs both got a rushing touchdown, 14 for 57 for Montgomery, 8 for 25 for Gibbs. To me, what this says is the stats, aside from St. Brown, which he's been a freaking beast for most of the season, there's nobody that really stands out as far as like, oh my God, like Puka Nacua with 181 yards. To me, this stands out as like an all-around team effort. Like everybody played hard. And they get the win, 24-23 for the first playoff win since, was it 90, 91, 92, something like that, I think. It's like 30-some years or something. And it was at home. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how far that team goes. Moving on to another less competitive game. It was scheduled for, is it Sunday at 1 o'clock? Yeah, Sunday at 1 o'clock. And then it got moved to Monday at 4:30. So, I'm sure a lot of eyeballs were on that game while people were probably still working. The Bills got blasted with a storm from hell. And so the game was moved. They played the Steelers in a snow bowl. Steelers just decided to phone this one in. They look like they forgot how to play football. Now, granted, you have Mason Rudolph as your quarterback. Najee Harris, for the most part, is ineffective yet again, and you have TJ Watt out. So, take it for what it's worth. But Josh Allen, welcome back to the league. Like, for the longest part, him and the Bills and the Chiefs kind of seemed like they were on the same collision course. Like, they were both kind of playing sketchy ball, both looking very inconsistent, not typically playoff caliber ball like we're used to. And then all of a sudden, he decided to show up and ball out.
Shows up in postseason, I'll tell you that.
Exactly. 21 of 30, 203, 3 touchdowns, sacked twice. He did also have 8 for 74 on the ground and a touchdown. I know there's been talk about that. I don't know how you stop it. I don't know how you police it. But that 50-some yard run where he looked like he ran down the field and then kind of stutter-stepped / thought about maybe sliding and then stopped and ran down the field. How do you think that should be addressed? Do you think it's, hey, fair game? I don't know how you stop it because initially, earlier in the game, he did the same thing and slid, and the Steelers got flagged for late hit, roughing the passer, whatever. So now they're kind of like gun shy. So the second they see him start to look like he's going to slide, they ease up, and then he just uses it to their advantage because it's already a slick field, and he just does the okey doke and goes right around them. And then
if I was a quarterback, I'd do it every damn time I could. I'd keep the defense guessing, man.
Well, and I've seen that more times lately than what I can count. Jalen Hurts has done it a lot. Usually it's a lot of the run quarterbacks that you see this, where they run and then they go for the first down, and instead of running out of bounds, they decide to dive. And then as they dive, the defensive guy is diving as well. And it's just the pure timing where as he's hitting the ground, the defensive guy is going over top of him and hits him and gets flagged or doesn't get flagged, and then everyone freaks out that it's roughing the hitter or roughing the passer. I've seen it with Jalen Hurts. I know there was quite a bit of outcry when Green Bay played Chicago and Justin Fields. It happened again in Buffalo. To me, if you run, basically, to me, that's the same as a running back. You no longer have the safety of a roughing the passer.
You don't have to twist my arm.
So why are we flagging this all the time then? What difference does it make if Josh Allen's running it or James Cook is running it? I mean, I guess the
defense is at a disadvantage because people
100%,
like touchdowns.
100%.
They're screwed. You're screwed. I get it, man. I'm with you. I think it's bullshit. But if I'm a quarterback, I might do a little fakearoo or something and
why not? Why not? Because it's in your favor. It plays to your favor. The rules are the way they are for your benefit. But I just think it's a way to game the system within the game, and it sucks because there's nothing you can do about it. You ball out and keep the guy from getting extra yards. You get flagged. Josh Allen doesn't get the touchdown. You're afraid you're going to get flagged and fined. You ease up. He makes you look like a fool. So there's really no way to win. Either your pocketbook hurts or he hurts.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. Bills do get the win, 31-17. I did like the interview. Immediately after the game, some woman says, "Mike, you have 1 year left in your contract," and he just looks and walks stage left. Out. I'm out. Doesn't even respond.
Yeah, don't ask Mike about his contract, folks.
Well, especially not after you just got your ass beat. Probably not the best time for that.
Damn, you might as well ask him what you think about the fucking weather in the dome game. Damn.
Well, I mean, honestly, that would have been same thing of asking McCarthy right after he got his ass beat. Hey, so you think you're going to be back next year? What do you think about having a job?
Hey, Mike, what do you think the chances are to coming back to the... Hey, Mike, have you put your house on the market yet?
Yeah, do you still have somewhere to... Do you have somewhere to sleep in Dallas tonight? Or, that's not the time for that shit.
So good.
Reporters are stupid, and then they get pissed at the coaches when they get these emotional responses. Well, don't ask dumb questions. But the one host on ESPN Madison said, he goes, the old saying is there's no stupid question. He said stuff like this really pushes the limits to that quote.
I mean, man, yeah, but, really.
To kind of go back to the we're kind of not necessarily backtracking, but to stay on point with the rules are the way they are for the offense. To go back to the Bills game or the Rams game, what do you think about that hit on Higbee by Joseph? Do you think it was a dirty hit, or do you think that was just a bang happened the way it was?
No, this is the same thing.
Because you get flagged if you hit him high.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly right. You're not allowed to go high because of fucking hitting them in the head. But you ask every fucking player, and they say, "No,
because
dude, you take out my legs, you're gonna fuck up my entire." Yeah, I'm done. Like, trust me, I can unscramble my eggs in a couple weeks. What I can't do is repair every ligament in my fucking knee because you went low.
Well, here's my thing. The only reason I would say it's, and I'm not saying it's a dirty hit or it isn't a dirty hit, but I would be more inclined to say that it's a dirty intent, I guess, if that makes any sense. And the only reason I say that is because from what I've read, the exact same type of hit happened to Hawkinson, and that's what took him out by the exact same guy. So now it seems kind of lead down the road of there's a trend. My thing is, when you look at the replay in slow motion, at no point when he's about 3 feet to 4 feet away from Higbee does his head ever come up to locate the guy.
Yeah,
he's just submarining straight in there with his head down. That's the only issue I have with it. If he was diving and his head was up, then he would have a case of like, hey, I tried to make a better tackle, or I tried to make it safer and, try to roll off or whatever. But the fact that he came in there submarining head down, just basically targeting the guy's knee, that's what irritates me. Like, you didn't even see the guy. You just used your helmet like a weapon right to his freaking knee. You had no clue where he was. You just knew he was in the vicinity, and I'm just going to and just head first. Use it like a battering ram. That's the thing that pissed me off. If his head was up, I could say, hey, no. In full disclosure, I don't think it's a dirty hit. But the fact that you submarined in there, head down, had no clue what was going on, that's the part that irks me. And the fact that it happened, and the fact that it happened twice in the same fashion, and you go back and look at replays, both times he had his head down. Like, that's one of two things: either a dirty intent, or whoever the hell's teaching him to tackle is doing a piss poor job. He doesn't know how to tackle, because at no point should you ever be tackling with your head down at any point.
I mean, it's just everything we've seen in the past however many, holy shit, like a decade. There's the fundamentals.
Well, I was going to say, but then again, name one guy in the NFL who even knows how to tackle anymore. Nobody. They all just push and shove. Like,
every time I see somebody like form tackle, where I'm like,
it's flagged.
Holy shit,
it's flagged. Dude. It's
flagged. I'm like, oh my God, yes. I jump up, I get excited. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, usually those are the harder looking hits, and they're flagged. And it's a complete legit.
Yeah, then they land on them with like 0.60% of their body weight, and they get flagged for 15. I'm like, I take it. I take it every time.
Yeah. Well, and with that being said, it's kind of funny because there's a lot of similarities between the Rams game and the Bills game. Josh Allen gets the flag when he slides, and the Steeler guy hits him as he's like in midair. Stafford throws the ball, and he gets cocked, someone taking his knee out, and then someone diving, hitting him in the head as he already released the ball, and nobody threw a flag on that. No roughing the passer. Like, Stafford's getting dismantled. He's getting dismembered and getting, decapitated. No flag. But then you look at Josh Allen, and the second he dives for a first down, oh my God, throw the flag. I'm like, what? It comes back to the same thing we've said for years. There's no consistency across the board.
Nope, and that's my problem with it.
Yeah, and that's where you start the narratives of, oh, Mahomes gets all the calls, or in the past, Brady gets all the calls. Like, that's where that narrative shit starts, because you see guys like Stafford getting his head taken off, and the exact same style of play happens to somebody like a Mahomes, and the flag gets thrown. Like, what the hell? That shit doesn't sit well with me, because then somebody will get hurt. But yeah, I don't know. But we'll move on here to the last game. Philadelphia Eagles played Tampa. Yeah, it didn't go well for Sirianni and the Eagles. But hey, at least they're consistent. They've been consistently shitty for the last 6 or 7 weeks. They were 10-1 and then lost every game to finish out the season.
Yeah. Yeesh.
Buccaneers finish the game 32-9, knocking off the Eagles. Granted, they didn't have A.J. Brown, and he's been their workhorse and basically their go-to guy. But Jalen Hurts just looked like trash. Like, he did not look good in this game at all. 25 of 35, 250, a touchdown, sacked 3 times, rushed 1 for 5. Swift, 10 for 34, not his ideal. Honestly, I think the only shining star in this entire game was Devonta Smith, 8 for 148. Other than that,
he looked good.
Other than that, I mean, they couldn't stop the Bucs defensive line. They couldn't stop Baker. Like, they made Baker look like a god.
Baker, in fairness, dude, and Mike Evans, shame on you, sir, for dropping the pass inside like the 2-yard line. Baker couldn't have put that goddamn ball any better. It went right through his fucking hands. That should have been a touchdown.
A rookie could have caught that. Like, that
Jesus
was not. That was
Christ.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, I hate Baker Mayfield. We all know this. I felt bad for Baker on that. Like,
I saw that, and I'm like,
shit.
My first instinct was, I hope Philly doesn't get their shit together, and then somehow that's going to come back to bite him in the ass, because one guy that should have caught that didn't catch it. Because otherwise, other than that, they played pretty damn flawless. Like, they played pretty damn good ball. Baker, 22, 36, 337, 3 touchdowns. He was sacked 4 times. For as much as they say their run game has been non-existent all season, and to go up against the Philadelphia defense, who's touted as like a pretty good defense, except for this year they fell apart. Rachaad White, 18 for 72. It's not bad, not terrible. But yeah, the fact that you have Mike Evans, 3 for 48, and he's what, 1, 2, 3, 4th on the stat sheet. Not great. Not great. But again, they do get the they get the win here. Dive through some of the breaking news here real quick. A lot of the head coaching changes, and then we'll look at some of the matchups for this coming week. All within one day, I believe, right? Pete Carroll out as head coach in Seattle.
Yep. Bye-bye, Pete.
Belichick out in New England. I wasn't for sure if he was going to just take over the coaching role or if he was going to step down altogether. They decided to part ways.
Sounds like old BB is going to be headed to the ATL down there.
That's what it looks like. I think today, news came out that he had a second interview with them. I'm not quite sure what exactly the interest is down there. I mean,
he's going to end up owning like fucking Home Depot after this is all said and done.
Yeah. I mean, you got, I almost said CJ Stroud. You got Bryce Young down there, so whatever. But yeah, Carolina's a joke.
I mean, that's a good point, though. Like, who else is in that division?
I mean, you got Derek Carr and the Saints. The Saints' defense is
Jameis
okay.
Winston.
The defense is okay for the Saints, but they're getting older. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore's getting up there. The Bucs' defense is basically kind of what's been tough. The offense isn't really that great. And I mean, Atlanta, what do you think he does with Atlanta? I mean, you got Desmond Ridder, and you got, is it Heineke? I think it's Heineke, isn't it? It's down there. They got to draft somebody, right? I think it was Heineke that was behind him.
He's got the 8th pick right now, but...
I mean, I don't know that they would draft a quarterback, but Bill would be somebody...
I need a quarterback.
Well, yeah, but Bill would be somebody that would probably not draft a quarterback, build up the offense or defensive line, and just use Robinson as a workhorse, and then he would probably try to sign a free agent quarterback.
Bill, this is what Bill probably do. Because I have a feeling he's going to end up in fucking Atlanta. Like I said, he's going to end up owning like 49% of fucking Home Depot when all is said and done. He'll trade out of the 8th pick.
Yeah.
Down to the fucking, 12th pick.
Yeah.
He'll trade down to 12. He'll grab Bo Nix. Bo Nix will be the next goddamn Tom Brady. Bill and Bo will end up winning 4 Super Bowls. Bill obliterates the most wins by an NFL coach. Go right off into the sunset.
How do you think he does? How do you think he does with? Did they let their Did they let their GM go or just the coach? Atlanta.
I don't even know who Atlanta's GM was.
I don't know. I know Artie Smith was their head coach, but my question
That guy
was,
was a fucking creep.
yeah, well, my question was, how does Bill do the day-to-day stuff just as the coach and not having complete control like a GM, like he did in New England, not having control over everything? That's doing that for 24 years is a very hard pill to swallow to step back. I mean, maybe he would like to do it. I don't know. I find it hard to believe when you've been doing something for 24 years, you cut back.
Yeah, I don't think he's cutting back. I think
that was my thing.
He's going to be doing the whole show, buddy.
Well, that was the thing. Then that means that Arthur Blank is going to be like, "Hey, GM, if he's not fired yet, you're gone," because that's the only way Bill would come in to have full say. It's my opinion. But with that being said,
Terry Fontenot. I think Terry Fontenot might be gone. Falcons GM.
The name sounds familiar, but I don't.
Absence role in Atlanta. Oh boy, he was not present at the press conference with Arthur Smith. Oh boy.
Huh.
Yeesh. Yo.
Well, it could be setting up for a New England situation then down
Writing
there.
on the wall there, bud.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, they did name Belichick's successor, Gerard Mayo, who basically played for Bill, coached for Bill. So, I mean, he's basically got the right mold, I guess. He does take the youngest coach title away from McVay now. But yeah, it sounds like New England's kind of got their stuff set up. As far as there's been a lot of coaching stuff going around, like I said, we had Pete Carroll, Belichick, and then in the same day, not necessarily NFL related, but championship coach related, Nick Saban from Alabama steps down as well. Awful lot of championships between those three guys. I think, not to go too deep into that, I think Saban's kind of getting behind the NIL now running the show is what's kind of, he's not able to secure all that talent like he could have before the NIL.
That's what I'm saying. That's the whole reason. I mean, honestly, the playing field is too level now because
Exactly.
shit little schools can pay whoever.
Exactly.
And, I mean, goddamn it. He
unfortunately, the kids don't really care about playing. Some of the kids don't really care about the ball. They care about the paycheck and their TikTok views and all this crap and merchandising and, all this stuff. So they go to these little schools and, maybe they won't be going pro, but they'll be making bank. Whereas if you go to Alabama, yeah, you put in 3 years at Alabama, then you go pro. But in the meantime, you're going to be making less. So,
good for them. Because
I don't know.
So pissed off with that whole transfer portal bullshit. Kids go to 3 different high schools, for God's sakes. What the fuck do you think? They're going to go to one college?
Yeah, exactly.
Shit.
With that being said, what do you think? There's been a lot of rumors going around about Harbaugh going with, I guess he's had a couple different meetings now with the Chargers.
Well, I guess it depends on his immunity deal with Michigan.
Yeah. I think he would like to stay there and try to run it back and be like the first coach that's ever been able to go back to back.
He ain't going back to back.
But well, no, because half the team's gone.
Well, and all the transfers are coming to Ohio State, so I hope you enjoyed your fucking run. He'd be better suited to leave.
I just don't see him being able to pan out in, I almost said San Diego, Los Angeles with the Chargers. Like the way that ownership is and how they refuse to spend money, and it is an older roster. I don't know. I don't see him being all that successful for a few years. And especially, I mean, obviously he's done it before, so he's no spring chicken to the game. But it's a whole different animal because you got the guys, the NIL and all that stuff in college. But now you got these guys, in pro. They're making more than you. So you got these rookies coming in, and your whole khaki speech and all that only goes so far. I don't know that it might not resonate with some of these older veterans.
The older guys appreciate the granny panties, though. Like, it's the young guys that go fucking commando that just don't even wear any. But, like, those older guys would be like, I get it. The way they hug the cash and prizes, they support everything in a way that only granny panties can. So I could see that being a big, draw.
A selling point,
Yeah, that's more of a draw, I would say.
or lack of draws. But yeah,
Yeah, draws. It's the lack of draws that those youngsters don't understand. You need
yeah.
all that support, especially as you get older, man. This
Gravity's a bitch.
that purse gets a little bit bigger as you keep adding things to it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no way to transition from that.
Shit. Well,
yet another. We'll go to another
block
coach.
the emergency exit.
We'll go to another coach whose purse may not be as big anymore. Sirianni on the hot seat with the way that his season's ended. Do you think he stays in Philly, or do you think they move on? I know they've been talking about looking at all offensive coordinators and exploring all options, but the guy came in the first year, went to the Super Bowl, and he lost. But then they've been pretty competitive. They had a 10-1 record, but then the wheels totally fell off, and they just got embarrassed.
Philly is tough, man.
They typically are very impatient too.
Yeah, that fan base, they have zero tolerance for bullshit.
I don't know what his contract length is, if it's for another year or two or what, but I would think if it's for another year, if he does stay, if he's less than 10 wins, he's out, because
I don't know though, man. Because from reading online, a lot of people were saying the whole reason that he had such success in the past were because of his OC and DC. And
well, then the OC went to Indy, and you see what they did with Minshew.
That's what I'm saying. And maybe that is true. And maybe Sirianni is just, I don't know, maybe he's just a guy.
Yeah. The team seems to like him. The players seem to play for him, but I don't know. It's a results business, and if you aren't bringing the results, you ain't going to be in the business.
Shit.
But with that being said, also, I don't know how this plays into his long-term success as well. Jason Kelce, at least as of now, did come out and announce that was his last hurrah, his last go-around. He called it quits. He's hanging up the cleats, at least what he says. Now, granted, we've seen plenty of guys go back and forth on this, quite a few quarterbacks, one wearing 4, one wearing 12 that come to mind. Although I think it might be a little different with the offensive line.
I don't know if it's official, though.
I don't either. That's just what I've heard, what I've read.
They played it up, but he said that he wasn't going to that soon after an emotional loss.
I did hear that as well on their podcast or whatever, a clip from it that basically said when he knew the time was right, he was going to do it the right way, to be respectful of, all of the support and, people that got him to where he got and, played a part in his career. So I feel like basically announcing it in the locker room is probably not the most ideal way that he had in mind. But granted, you just got blasted. I assume you probably tore up, pretty emotional. You probably feel like shit. You probably felt like shit for the last 3 months. You're not getting any younger. I'm sure it's probably the emotion playing part, but I don't know. We'll see. But either way, we're not going to see another Kelce Bowl this year, for sure.
Factually correct, Jared. I had Jamie. I called Jamie. He's on the beach in Barbados. He said you're right.
Oh, okay, good. We got confirmation.
He did that shit pro bono.
Oh, well, good. We'll have to thank him later. Send him a fruit basket.
Didn't even have to pay him for that one.
Let's look at the matchups here real quick, and then we'll wrap this one up. We got the Saturday games. Packers at San Francisco, 8:15. Texans at Ravens, 4:30.
Tarantino on me. You're going to the late game first? Wow.
Well, I'm just looking at it because that's who I have it favored on my scores app. But yeah, I've heard both things. I know that we're supposed to, here on the East Coast, supposed to get some snow, inclement weather again. I don't know if Baltimore is going to get any. I don't know what that weather is going to be like. I think Texans have a shot, but I don't think it's a big shot. I think Baltimore gets the win here. Granted, it is a 9.5 spread. That's a big spread. I think Texans cover. I think Baltimore gets the win, though.
Ooh.
I'm thinking it's I think it might be a 6.5, 7 game.
Interesting.
Packers, 49ers. They're 9.5 as well now. I know that line's moved all over the place. It was 10.5, I think, at one point, and it went down to 8. Might have even went down to 7.5. Now it's at 9.5. I'm going to be honest, I have no clue what to expect from this game. If the Packers show up like they did against Dallas, guns blazing, very little mistakes, they could win. If they typically look like they did in October or struggled against Carolina, 49ers could blow the doors off. It could be another, 20-point game at halftime in favor of San Francisco. Or it could be a game like it was, was it last year or 2 years ago, where it was like 10-3, Green Bay leading going into like the last 4 minutes of the game. I don't know. I think, obviously my heart says the Packers get the upset, but I think Niners get the win, and I think they cover the spread. I think the Niners win by, I'm going to say 12.
Wow.
I think they'll say, I'm going to say 12.
You're a Packers fan, so I'll believe you.
I think
scores?
I think it's going to end up being like a 22-10, 24-14, something like that type of game. I think somehow the defense is going to get caught, and Shanahan's going to get the best of him, unfortunately.
Damn. Okay.
I don't want it to happen, and I'll be very, very impressed and shocked if they get the win. I don't know. San Francisco is a whole nother beast.
Yeah. I mean, I like that. Niners are a real deal. It depends on which Niners show up.
Yeah. Well, who was it? I mean, Cleveland beat the Niners, didn't they?
Sure
earlier?
did. Yeah, sure
they
did.
were, that was right in the middle of their like 3 or 4 game stretch that they just looked like shit.
Yeah, Moody missed a field goal.
So I mean, I
lost a lot of money on the Niners.
So both of these teams have had hiccup games.
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
Green Bay more so, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
That is so many points for an NFL playoff game, especially round 2.
It is, but then again, when you look at Green Bay's defense, I mean,
I don't know, man. They fucked up Dallas.
Yeah, but Dallas always fucks up.
Oh man, I don't know. You sort of said it yourself, though. I want to talk you out of this because you sort of said it yourself, though. If you neutralize Christian McCaffrey, it all depends on what Brock Purdy does.
Okay, I said this earlier to ESPN Wisconsin when I was listening to him. My biggest concern is if they can lock up Bosa or at least somewhat contain him like they did Micah.
Yeah,
and they can limit McCaffrey. Limit his explosive plays, I think they have a very good chance of closing this one out. It's going to be very close if they pull it out. It's not going to be a rout. They're not going to run Dallas, or they're not going to run San Francisco out the building like they did Dallas.
Okay. Oh no, I see. I see what you're saying.
No,
you know what? You talked me into it. You twist my arm. Give me the Niners plus 9.5.
What I said was
plus 9.5.
I think you might want to.
Minus 2,500.
You might want to think that one through.
If you take the Niners plus 9.5, you're going to get like a nickel out of a $1,000 bet.
Yeah, you're not smart at betting. You should stop.
I'll do it though.
Let's be honest. Okay, so let's put it this way. Look at who they played December 17th. It's about a month ago. They played Tampa Bay. They lost 34-20 to Baker and the Buccaneers. Does anybody on that Tampa Bay defense compared to Bosa?
I mean,
no.
If we're going by palette,
does anybody on that defense compare to Greenlaw?
Let me talk to Bob Ross here,
or Fred Varner. No, they don't. So San Francisco. Oh, there's a reason for it. I'll tell you later.
Oh boy.
So San Francisco has a far superior defense than Tampa Bay, and they got beat by 14 points.
Dude, but I'm going to tell you that, right? Because it's a quarterback-driven league. It depends on what Purdy's going to do, man. Purdy may
I don't think it's going to come down to Purdy. I think it's going to come down to CMC. Because CMC also plays QB.
I think it's going to be Purdy, man. It depends on which Purdy you get, right?
What are you talking about? Dude? Jimmy G threw the ball freaking 7 times or something a few years ago and beat the brakes off him.
It's going to be Purdy, dude. I'm telling you, man. If Purdy he's fully capable of fucking up this game. Watch.
One way or another, yes. Bad or good.
They just lost to the fucking Rams, for fuck's sake, man. Dude, if he goes...
I'll put it this way. I'm not going to be surprised if 49ers blow them out of the gym. I'm not going to be surprised at all.
They should.
They should, yes. Do I think that Packers have a chance? Yes. But if the Packers win, it's not going to be like it was in Dallas, where it's going to be that much of a landslide. It's just not. It's going to be a very close game.
Dude, so... Oh man, it's. I'm telling you, man.
I believe it's supposed to be a lot of rain out there too, from what I've heard.
It's not great for Purdy. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, the Packers and the points sounds pretty fucking appealing. Purdy just threw 4 fucking picks to the Ravens a couple weeks ago, like 4 weeks ago, dude.
I think
you might be surprised.
Here's my thing. I think it's going to come down to 3 things. And that's what's going to decide the game.
2 of them better be Brock Purdy.
Does Bosa impact the game?
Oh!
Does he run the game? 2, does Aaron Jones get 20 plus touches? From what I've understood and when I've looked at stats, Aaron Jones, if he gets 20 plus touches in the game, the Packers are undefeated. They've won 10 games in a row when he's had 20 plus touches.
I heard that they were in the process of signing Jacob Hester and Peyton Hillis to the roster to add a little bit of that cream to the coffee.
Yeah, I don't think so.
If you know what I'm saying there, Jared, wink, wink, nuts.
Hillis is still stuck in a lake somewhere. Anyway.
He swam his way out.
Yeah.
Still got Jacob Hester.
It's going to come to, does Bosa wreck the game? Does Aaron Jones get his touches? And does CMC basically do what he wants? That's what's going to happen. One of those 3 things, or multiple, is what's going to dictate that game. If they can bottle up Bosa and CMC, I think they got a chance.
The problem with what you just said is Aaron Jones isn't playing in fucking Texas this week. He's playing in California.
Which means he's not going to probably get his 20 touches.
He's a non-factor, or he'll average 2.7 yards carry, and he'll be a fucking jerk-off.
Which is exactly why I think they're going to lose.
Well, which is why exactly I said fucking Brock Purdy's going to be the fucking difference maker.
Brock Purdy doesn't play defense.
Brock Purdy's going to fucking either give up the fucking game or break the fucking game with those 2 receivers that you were fucking blasé about earlier. Fucking Ayuk and Deebo Samuel are going to fucking light the fuck out of the shitty Joe Barry defense, or Brock Purdy's going to be going fucking balls to the wall, throwing it up to fucking Alexander and his shades.
If he's out there. Supposedly he's questionable.
I mean, he's not a captain from what I've heard.
Well, it doesn't matter. Even if he isn't, he'll still be out there.
I kind of hope so. I would pay money to see that shit. I would pay money to see the motherfucker in center field.
I don't know. I don't know what to think of this game. I've went back and forth on it. I don't know.
Avoid that shit. I like the Packers and the points, though.
Buccaneers Lions at 3:00 on Sunday at Detroit. They get another home game. 6.5 spread.
God, it's a sweet fucking game, dude.
This is almost as hard.
Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff in the God.
This is almost as hard to pick as Detroit Rams.
Crazy.
I think the Bucs get it. I think the Bucs take it.
You want the Bucs, man?
I don't want the Bucs. I don't want the Bucs.
And the points?
I think the Bucs. Yeah, I think the Bucs.
Really? So hold on. You think So you're telling me that you think the Bucs and holy shit. You think the Bucs and Baker Mayfield can get it done when Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp and company couldn't get it done with Kyron Williams? You think Rashad White? Holy shit, man.
No, I think
Baker ain't going to do it. Dan Campbell going to fuck that shit up.
I think Jared Goff's been hot for a long time now. I think this might be the game where Vita Vea blows him up. You see how he plays, and the reason I think that is you see how Jared Goff plays when he gets pressure in his face. He crumbles. When Green Bay played him in earlier in the year, they didn't get any pressure on him. He ate their lunch. He tore him a half. When they played him on Thanksgiving, they sacked him 3 or 4 times. He couldn't do anything. When he gets any kind of pressure, he crumbles. I think Vita Vea and that defensive front is going to put a lot of pressure on him. I don't think he's going to be able to hold up.
No,
man. I think the Bucs will take it. I do. I really don't want Tampa to win, and I really don't want Detroit to win either. But I think Tampa gets it done. Not by a lot, but I think they sneak a win out.
No, I think Detroit covers the spread. Put it on the board. Mark this shit down. We'll revisit next week. Detroit covers the spread. Detroit by a touchdown. No problem.
All right.
Watch it. It's coming.
Chiefs playing at the Bills. Mahomes' first time he's ever had to play an away playoff game.
He won't know what to do with himself.
No, neither will the other spotlight person. What's her name? Oh,
Swalsey?
Taylor Swift. Yeah.
I found some jerseys I'm going to send you off once we're off the air.
Great.
Custom jerseys. Taylor Swift, 89 jerseys. You can get Swift. You can get Swelsey.
Great.
They're sexy, dude. They're sexy.
Can't wait. Chiefs at the Bills.
You look better in red than you do in yellow.
That's not even true at all. Chiefs at the Bills. Bills getting they're the 3-point favorite.
I'm going to give you one of these.
It's not a video. It's a shame this isn't a video podcast.
Putting 2 in your pink and 1 in your urethra.
Oh, all right. I don't know. I don't even know what to think of this one. I don't know.
Bills. The Bills have Kansas City's number, dude.
I'm going to say the Chiefs.
It'll be Bills, Ravens.
I'm going to say the Chiefs.
Cool. God, it is crazy how many. We should keep track of these. We should give these point values.
We should. We'll have to do that next year.
Keep track.
Start at the season, and then we'll either start again in postseason or have it carry over or whatever. We'll have to do that next year. I just think that the Chiefs. I think they're starting to put it together.
Mm-mm.
Not that the Bills aren't, but the way that my thing is the way that Mahomes is he's just another dude. Rashee Rice is starting to come on as his main target receiver, deep threat.
I've got no problems with him whatsoever.
But Pacheco is a whole nother deal. That dude runs over everybody.
I love Pacheco. I'm not gonna lie. You and I both have talked about this guy off the air.
I think if the Chiefs do get the win, it's going to be because Pacheco has a big day. Because it is supposed to be in Buffalo. They're probably supposed to get some crappy weather again.
He's a bad dude, man. You know who else is a bad dude who doesn't get enough fucking credit is James Cook, by the way.
I was going to say Cook.
James Cook is a bad dude.
Is Gabe Davis supposed to be back?
I don't think he is, but I was actually trying to look that up earlier, and I don't know if he actually is.
If he's back, that may sway me, because then that would give Buffalo even more weapons.
As of this recording, he did not practice today. Gabe Davis, I owned Gabe Davis in, I think, 2 fantasy leagues. Dude, I actually dropped Gabe Davis this year.
He's very inconsistent. He'll have games with 1 target for 9 yards, or he'll have 4 targets and 3 touchdowns.
This year he did.
Yeah,
last year he was more consistent.
Yeah,
this year he went AWOL. I'm not even kidding you, dude.
He was injured a lot though, wasn't he?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. He went counting postseason. 6 games this year without a catch.
I see your Gabe Davis, and I raise you a Christian Watson.
I don't know, man. They're the same dude now. Shit, Christian Watson had
He only played 9 games.
Dude, Christian Watson had a better season.
Really?
Guaranteed.
All right, we gotta look this up.
Put it on the board. Guaranteed Christian Watson had a better season.
What is his year stats?
Facts. Watch it. Get ready for it. You're not gonna like the answer to this one, Jared.
So he played 9 games. What do we want to focus on? Reception and yards, touchdowns, yards per game. What do we want to look at? Because Watson had...
Oh, shit. What the fuck?
Watson was 28 for 422 yards, 5 touchdowns. And Gabe Davis played 17 games, 45 catches for 746 yards and 7 touchdowns. So
it's not even close. It's not even close. It's Watson.
That's not Watson.
It's Watson by a mile.
Not even
it's
close.
Watson in any game he played.
No.
Yes, dude, absolutely.
I'm
Gabe
looking
Davis
right now.
Played in every game.
That's exactly.
Watson
didn't.
That's what I'm saying. I said in games they played. In games played. Go by games played.
Yeah, I'll give you
games
that.
Games played, Watson. If Watson suits up, he's fucking doing something.
Well,
Gabe Davis suits up and disappears.
Except for last week, Watson had 1 catch for 9 yards. But yeah, I'll give you that.
Gabe Davis last week.
I'll give you that. Well, yeah, by 9 yards. Yeah, I'll give you that because in the 9 games, managing 400 yards and 700 yards over 17 games. So it's taken him twice as long, essentially, to get 300 yards more.
I love them both. Don't get me wrong. I love them both. But holy shit, I've never seen a player do a fucking Houdini like Gabe Davis has this year.
Yeah. If I had a choice, I'd rather take neither.
But, I mean, I say it all the time, availability. And
yeah.
I mean, Gabe Davis at least suited up.
It's true.
But I like Christian Watson, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I like Christian Watson.
If he honestly would just freaking stay healthy, he could be like their Tyreek Hill. But the problem is he can't stay healthy. And that's going to be probably his biggest issue going into next season. Because they're going to have to put something in his contract. You need to play X amount of games and you get an incentive escalator or something. Because otherwise, there's no way they're going to be able to keep him on the roster. You can't keep playing half a season. You just can't.
Sports Illustrated's biggest issue used to be the swimsuit issue.
Does that have any relevance to this?
You talked about his biggest issue.
Okay.
I was drawing a correlation.
I guess I see the connection there.
I got you.
That was a swing, real big swing there.
I got you.
All right, we're going off the rails. Wrap this up. Go watch the second round of the playoffs here, divisional matchups. Download, rate, subscribe, review. You want to interact with us on the socials, hit us up on 5th Sportscast, 5THQ Sportscast. Yeah, go watch some football, have some fun.
Gamble.
Yeah, if you're gonna gamble, take some wagers. I don't know. I would personally probably lean more into the props than some of the lines because with the way the games have been going, what was it? 3 of the 4 last week were blowouts. So I don't know. I would probably go more so on the props. But either way, go watch some football, have some fun, and we'll catch back up with you next week. Dive into some of the breakdown and results.
If April showers bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring? Say it. Say it, Jared. You fucking say it. Say it. Pilgrims.